All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to February CCNA membership meeting. We have a lot to cover this morning. We're going to try to stay on time as much as possible. I want to just say that one of the things that we can help each other with is to be respectful of the person that's speaking by not having sidebars, looking at your phone, reading something else, but to give them your 100% attention so that you hear everything that's being said. And with active listening would be really, really great. We have an amazing presentation today that I think you guys are really going to like. Does anybody have anything they want to add to new business today? Speak now or forever wait till March. Okay. I have one thing to add that wasn't on the agenda, and that is, I'll find somebody that has it. On the back of your agenda is a QR code and a tag for a survey that the city is doing regarding their strategic plan for the next 2 years. We're asking all of the neighborhoods to make sure you're sharing this with your neighborhood membership. This is your opportunity for your voice to be heard as to what's important. And if you don't take the survey, they don't know what you think is important. So please, please take the time to take this survey. Any people here for the first time sitting at the table? Oh, welcome. We got one here, I'm sorry. Who else raised their hand? Bay Island, okay, and we're going to do that as soon as okay, I'm going to miss somebody. Can we get them a microphone? Yeah, who has the microphone?
I got it.
If you could say your name and what neighborhood you represent, that would be super fantastic.
Hi, good morning. My name is Chuck Half, and I live on St. Armands. I'm the new alternate delegate to work with Chris.
Awesome, welcome, Chuck.
Good morning. My name is Mark Spiegel. I live at Golden Gate Point Association, and I am also an alternate.
Welcome, Mark.
Hello. Continuing the trend, I'm Steve Swall, alternate with Gillespie Park.
Good morning, Steve. Welcome. One more.
Good morning. I'm Leslie Butterfield, and I represent Bay Island Siesta Key Association.
Good morning. Welcome, Leslie. And guests from the city. We have, I'm going from eyeball.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
All right. Foregoing titles. Kathy, raise your hand. Hey, Commissioner. There we go. Whitney, in the back. Code compliance. Thank you.
Stand up, Whitney.
Hey, Steve, where you at? Steve, Mr. Culver, planning. Nick Patel, where did you go? There he is. Okay. We all know and love Nick. Esther was kind enough to bring Mark. I also want to remind Walter Bailey, sitting over there. He is in charge of Brotherhood of Men, which our good friend Scott is also participating, and Commissioner Jen. Did I miss anybody?
Alvy Marie.
Who?
Karen.
Oh, they're speakers. They'll be up. They'll be here.
Matt.
They'll be here. We got them covered.
Pat Robinson.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about him.
Pat Robinson. Did we get everyone? Thank you, everyone. Much appreciated. Next up,
And
sorry.
the vice mayor is walking in the door.
Debbie Trice
Yep.
has joined.
Commissioner Trice.
Has entered the building. Next up, and I'm going to apologize, I don't have the slide. You know, I'm still kind of getting used to all the stuff we have to do, believe it or not. You know, this is probably not good for nominating committee time, but this is a full-time job for free. Next, we're going to have Matt give us the police report. Thank you, Matt.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again on this beautiful February 1st day. So we're going to start with some crime stats for the month of January. Starting off with murder, we had 0. Aggravated assault, we had 6. Robbery, we had 2. Sex crimes, we had 2. Burglary, we had 7. Larceny from a vehicle, we had 9. And then motor vehicle theft, 7. So now we're doing citywide crime stats, comparing from January of 2024 to year to date. Murder in 24 was 1, and so far in 25 is 0. Aggravated assault was 14 in 24, and then 6 in 2025 as year to date. Robbery is 4 in 24, and then so far has been 2. Sex crimes, 3 in 2024, and then in year to date has been 2. Burglary in 2024 was 10, 7 year to date so far. Larceny from vehicle was 9, and then 9 for year to date for 25 so far. And then motor vehicle theft was 13, and then 7 for the year to date. Some traffic stats for the month of January. We had 228 tickets given for speeding, 85 warnings, 0 fatalities. And then if anybody's just wondering about the crash that happened over here, the lady's gonna be okay. She was in the crosswalk, the driver will be at fault. So just giving everybody that heads up on that, if they know about that. Also, Kelley asked me to talk briefly about the school zone cameras that are now up and running. So just on January 6th of this year, we did a 30-day warning period for the school's speed zone safety program for the following schools: Cardinal Mooney, Tuttle Elementary School, and Southside Elementary School. And then the cameras will just be operated during the school hours, activating 30 minutes before school starts and deactivating 30 minutes after school ends. They will not monitor traffic outside these hours or weekends or during the holidays. And then if you have any other questions about that, you can just go to the Sarasota Police Department website. For this month, I wanted to talk about skimmer devices. How they work is to pull off the common theft criminals will install devices called skimmers directly on the gas pumps. They will wait for the gas station usually to be unattended or choose a location that does not no security cameras. The small device is attached directly to the point of sale system and designed to be undetectable. To spot a skimmer, while some gas pump skimmers are undetectable, others may show signs that the device does not belong. First, jiggle the credit card reader a little. Does it move or seem like it doesn't quite fit into place? So these are just things to look for. How do you protect your information against this? Remember to inspect the card reader using the tips above. Pay with credit card, not debit. Pay with a chip or contact-free methods such as Apple Pay. Gas pump skimmers can only read magnetic strips on the card. Avoid using PIN or enter as discreetly. Some criminals install hidden cameras to catch the information. Pay at the pump closest to the building, because often being watched by attendants inside, it's harder for criminals to tamper with those. And if you believe you've been a victim of the gas station scam, immediately report to financial institution. And then this, one of our big events coming up is National Night Out on April 15th. It's gonna be from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. I hope everybody can be there. And then of course, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X. And then if you need us, of course, 911 or the non-emergency number, 941-316-1199. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
I just want everybody to know I told my neighborhood those cameras were on 24/7 to slow down, in case you want to do that too. All right, next up, back in October of 23, we had a neighborhood summit, and we talked about what was most important to us for our neighborhoods. And today, our presentations are going to be around those summits. Specifically, we're going to kick off with neighborhood safety. And I am going to turn it over to Norm Dumaine to start that process and kind of take you through where we're at, what we're doing, where we're going. And this is that part where I'm asking you to please put your phones down and be active listeners. These guys have worked so hard and done such great work. The board has seen the presentation in advance. What they've accomplished working with the city staff is truly something to be really proud of. So, Norm?
Good morning, everyone. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I'd like, first of all, to begin by introducing the committee and the staff that have worked on the traffic calming program. And the committee was headed by Lou Costa. He was the chair for the committee. Mary Butler, Joanne Godet, Richard Harris, Carl Schofstall, and myself were the members of the committee. As far as staff goes, there are three people who are very important in this whole process. First of all, Nick Patel, if you would stand up. Okay. Nick is the chief engineer, and he is now the co-director of public works. Secondly, we have Alvy Marie Corrales, and Alvy is the chief transportation planner. And to her left? Okay, right? Okay. Corinne Arriaga is the senior planner for transportation. And these people have done an incredible amount of work for us and been incredibly helpful in this whole process. I'd like to give you a little bit of background in terms of how this all began. And it began a long time ago, actually. In 2017, one of our major leaders in the city recognized that traffic calming was arcane and not working, that it needed to be reviewed. It's taken some time before that process actually has been undertaken. And the three people that you have on your left were not here in 2017. This whole process of review has begun with the three people I've introduced from the staff. And I give them a great deal of credit for doing this. Okay. 2 years ago, when we began this thing, the reality was, when we went to the website and tried to find information about the traffic calming program, nothing was there. You couldn't find anything about the traffic calming program. If you pursued it even further, you did find that it was a 6-point program, and that you had to pass a warrant in order to be considered for traffic calming. After the warrant, then of course you had to go through a petition process. Now, once we got involved, the first thing that the city did for us is that they put that information up on their website, so you could at least find out what the process was in regard to the program in place at that time. From there, and this was at the initiative of the city, they created a trifold pamphlet that explained what was involved in winning your points and what was involved in possibilities of what you could have implemented. Now, that was an improvement, okay? But at that point, we felt that there were some things that needed to be addressed as far as the process was concerned. So we began by asking the city to provide us with data. And I've got to say, the city was remarkable in what they provided. They provided us 2 years of very, very detailed data of the requests that were being made, the responses to those requests, which ones were accepted, which ones were rejected, why. Alvy Marie was very much involved in creating that data. That allowed us to analyze what was really going on. And in that analysis, we discovered that there were many people who were not able to qualify for traffic calming. Some it was because of not being able to win enough points. Others because of the petition process. So at that point, we as a committee said, okay, let's take a look at what other communities are doing in terms of traffic calming. Again, the city provided us a great deal of information, actual comparisons. We went through about 10 or 11 different comparisons of other neighborhoods, other cities, other institutions that had a traffic calming program already created. As a committee, we analyzed that data and came to the conclusion that the St. John's approach was a very worthwhile one to consider. There were 3 elements that we were concerned about as a committee. First was the scoring system in terms of the 6-point system. Secondly, we were concerned about the petition system and how that was operating. And thirdly, it was important for us to understand the clarification and the communication in regard to the whole process of traffic calming. The result of this has been, I think, some very significant changes to the traffic calming program. And we're going to have Corinne coming up, and she's going to go through the manual that's been created because of the work that's been done these past 2 years. And I can't be more appreciative to the people, all the people we work with, in terms of their working in good faith, their willingness to look for solutions to perceived problems, and their willingness to do what we ask them to do and to respond in a positive way. So I'd like Corinne to go through with you a manual that they've created to address the traffic calming, and I think they've come up with a wonderful program.
Thank you, Norm. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for allowing us to be here today to share some of the revisions that we worked through with the CCNA traffic calming group. So we're going to just share a little bit of the results and give you a comparison of what the program was prior to these revisions and then what this 2025 program entails. Before we do that, we just want to remind everybody a little bit about what traffic calming isn't. So traffic calming is not traffic control. Traffic control devices assign the right-of-way to road users, and that can mean stop signs, traffic signals, yield signs, and those are evaluated through separate processes and funding sources. Similarly with safety improvements, so those safety improvements could be leading pedestrian intervals, and what that is technology on traffic signals that allows pedestrians to enter the crosswalk a few seconds before the green light. It provides drivers to be able to see the pedestrian in the crosswalk before they are even given the green light, so it gives them a safer environment, gives a pedestrian a safer environment. It's also not crosswalks. And similarly to traffic control devices, these are approached from a different program and through different processes. So what is the traffic calming program? What's its purpose? The traffic calming program's purpose is to mitigate speed on neighborhood roads. And so that was that is really the guiding purpose of the program. And so we had to keep that in mind as we moved through this journey with the CCNA traffic calming group. So a little bit about what Norm had talked about. So the criteria was a sticking point that needed to be looked at. And when we talked about what the purpose of the program is, it's to mitigate speed. So we evaluated the 85th percentile. So in the previous program, the scoring included You would get 2 points if the posted speed limit, if the 85th percentile was 1 to 5 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. You were given 3 points if it was 6 to 10 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, and 4 points if it was greater than or equal to 11 miles per hour. Understanding that the purpose of the program is to mitigate speeding, we understood that these criteria were needed to change. So now you can see in the 2025 revision, and when you get the traffic calming manual, it's on page 6, you can see if the 85th percentile is 1 to 5 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, you get 3 points. 6 to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, and you get 4 points. And then greater than or equal to 11 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, you're automatically getting 6 points. So like Norm mentioned, there was an analysis that was performed over the past requests that had come in. So we looked at requests from 2021 to mid-2024. And previously, based off of the 85th percentile or based off of the scoring that was done, only 48% of the requests were scoring 6 or higher. So we did a scenario where we evaluated all of the requests again based off of this new criteria, and we found that 71% of the requests would receive a score of 6 or higher. That's a 48% increase from the previous program. The next thing we tackled was a solutions matrix. So in the previous program, if you scored 6 or higher, you qualified for traffic calming. If you scored 5 or less, you did not qualify, and you were eligible for reevaluation in 5 years. Additionally, if the 85th percentile speed was at or below the posted speed limit, then the street did not qualify for treatments, and again, you were eligible for reevaluation in 5 years. So the new revisions for 2025 show if the data shows the 85th percentile speed is above the posted speed limit, then the street is eligible for traffic calming solutions based off of the solutions matrix. If it doesn't show that, then you're eligible for reevaluation in 3 years. So what is a solution matrix? It provides different solutions based on the score that is given to the street. So if you score 3, you get striping and signage treatments. If you score 4 through 5, you're eligible for quick build solutions and striping and signage improvements. So what's a quick build? A quick build is something that is a non-permanent investment that includes striping as well as flexible delineators or some other tool that is non-permanent and can be removed easily. And so these are examples that have been installed in the city. 7th Street from Lockwood Ridge Road to Bailey Road, you can see that there's striping that kind of chokes down the roadway and creates a narrower environment, making sure drivers are slowing down as they go through. And the same was provided on Morrell Street from US 301 to Julia Place. If you score 6 or higher, you're eligible for permanent traffic calming solutions as well as anything from 5 or less. If you score 3 through 5, you're eligible for treatments in the solutions, obviously for 3 through 5, and then you're also eligible for reevaluation in 3 years. So in 3 years, if you feel like the treatment's not working and they're still speeding on the roadway, you are eligible to go through this program again and see if you score 6 or higher. And so the last thing we're going to talk about is the neighborhood endorsement. And so in the previous program, this is the petition process. In the previous program, you needed property owner signatures. The petition area is a 1/10 of a mile buffer around the project site, and you needed 60% signatures from the project site. You can see here, these are just examples of how we obtain the project site and the locations in which you need to get the petition. So now in the 2025 revisions, the property owner signatures remains, as well as the 1/10 of a mile buffer around the project location. However, now we have 2 options for a petition. The first option is you can get 51% of property owner signatures from the petition area, or you can get 60% of property owners from a 51% response rate of the petition area. And so that actually reduces the number of property owner signatures you need. However, if you choose to do this option, the requester or the neighborhood is responsible for providing documentation to the city that they notified 100% of the property owner of the project area that was provided to them. And so there are a couple examples on how to do that in the manual, as well as if you have creative solutions on how you're able to provide documentation. We're always open and we're very flexible with that. However, that is a requirement for that option too. So the results of this applies to any traffic calming request beginning in 2025. This process is not retroactive, so if someone started or initiated the process in 2024, you're going through the 2024 process. Also, if you requested 2 years ago and you're like, okay, great, new process, you're still going to have to wait a year to initiate the process. And the program will be active during the traffic calming plan development. So where are we going? I just mentioned the traffic calming plan. Last budget cycle, the City Commission approved funding to develop a traffic calming plan. So that is exactly where we are headed. And today we'd like to invite everyone to a town hall meeting. We're hosting on February 19th, Wednesday, from 5:30 to 7:30 at the City Hall Commission, where we'll be providing a short presentation on the traffic calming plan development, what we're planning to do, and then we're opening it up for residents to share their concerns and their thoughts about traffic calming and speeding in the city of Sarasota. Each person will have up to 2 minutes to speak, and we'll be taking speaker cards. We definitely anticipate this to be a well-attended event, so we hope that you guys will all be in attendance, and knowing that we're going to be in the City Commission chambers, it's very limited space, so maybe you guys can work within your neighborhood associations to organize everybody's thoughts and send a couple representatives, and that way we can kind of limit the crowd, if you will. However, that's not mandatory, it's just a request. Everybody's welcome. And now we're opening it up for questions. I will let Kelley handle. I think we have one.
I've been instructed to hold on to my microphone and never let it go, so we have more. Okay, we're ready for questions, but before we do that, I just want to say to each of the members at the table, while we're taking questions, we have a copy of the manual for each and every one of you to take home and enjoy. So, somebody had their question. Indian Beach, Kevin, right? Hang on, let's get a microphone. Introduce yourself and your neighborhood before you ask your question. And also, if I could ask, if you have 5 questions, could you just ask 2 so the rest of the room has a chance to ask their questions, and then we'll circle back around. I learned that from going to city commission meetings, just so you know.
Hi, Kevin Speech, Indian Beach, South Fire Shores. First, thank the CCNA and the city for this work. This is really impressive progress, and I know we're all excited about it. Could you please explain the 85th percentile? Doesn't that mean that 85% of the measurements have to meet that criterion? Is that correct? What's the 85th percentile?
So the 85th percentile is if you put the data plots on a point and you see 85% of the cars are going this speed, that's the 85th percentile. And that's done because the top 15% isn't something an engineering solution would be installed for. So if 85% of the vehicles are going at this speed, if it's, let's say it's 26 on a posted 25, then you would get that 3 points right off the bat. Does that help?
If 50% of the cars are going 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, does that not meet the threshold?
So averages are, so when you put the data points and plot them out on versus taking the average, you're actually giving yourself a better chance at having people go over the speed limit. So when you take an average of the speed limits, if 100 people are going 20 miles per hour in a 25 and you only have 3 that are going 40, your average is going to be way below the posted speed limit. And so that's why we do the 85th, to see how much more than 50% of the cars are traveling, what speed they're traveling at. And then Nick would also like to add some engineering information.
When you use the website, could you explain?
Yeah, it's complicated, and I'm not a math major, so I'm still having trouble understanding it. When you do put it on the website, this is fantastic. If you could please put a description on that, or try to help people understand that, because I'm understanding you plot the data points. So if I have 100 cars and 25 are going over 10 miles per hour faster than the speed limit, let me be an example or two on there so we can understand it, because most of us just would deal with an average or a mean, and I don't understand the 85th percentile thing.
So let me just kind of highlight some of the things for 85th percent. It's a method that's widely used for transportation engineers, and what it does is that 85% of the drivers are traveling under free flow conditions. It helps identify reasonable speed and assesses the need for mitigation measures. So like, if it's essentially the speed at which most people in normal conditions, assuming there's not bumper traffic, that they'll be going at that speed.
So the posted speed limit is not relevant?
And that's where the
You're too near the speaker.
so that's
There you go, stand right there.
okay. Gotcha. All right. So that's where this traffic calming process goes through. So if they're over the posted speed limit, then we need to do engineering measures to slow them down.
And to your point, there is on page 6, when we develop the criteria, every criteria has a description, and the 85th is a little bit extra to explain why the 85th percentile is used. So in engineering, it's used to set the speed limits, and so here, when we evaluate how the 85th percentile, if it's over the posted speed limit, we understand that we need to put in engineering measures to help drivers follow the speed limit and reduce the speeds.
Next question. Say your name, what your neighborhood is, please.
Mark Spiegel, Golden Gate Point. How do you determine this if a neighborhood actually doesn't have any posted speed limits yet? Or
So the speed limits are all outlined in our city code. So if for some reason we would look at our city code to see if the roadway is listed and what the speed limit is, and if it's not listed, then it's 30 miles per hour per our city code.
Could I ask a clarifying question there?
Yes.
Are you asking for speed limit signs to be put in your neighborhood?
possibly.
Okay, we'll follow up on that.
David Lowe, DISCA. You're talking about property owners signing this as opposed to residents. For example, the Rosemary, probably 35 or 40% of the dwelling units there are rentals. Is this a conscious decision where you're asking for the property owner, or is this subject to discussion?
I mean, we're asking for property owners, and the reason we're doing that is based on liability. For example, if there's going to be a speed hump in front of a property owner, ultimately the property owner, we need confirmation from the property owner that they're okay with the speed hump in front of the property. This is just an example. That's where I think the modification in the respondent has changed. We've kind of provided two options, 50%.
Oh, yeah, so the petition process has changed. The different options have changed, however, you still need the property owner signatures, as Nick said, because of liability reasons. However, we are looking at some modifications as we move in the traffic calming plan development.
If I could add to that, the petition part of the process is up to the neighborhoods to do some work. And I can tell you from experience in Gillespie Park, we have quite a few Airbnbs, and the property owner lives out of the state. And we also have long-term rentals where the property owner lives somewhere else in the state or out of state. So it is some work to get to them. And what we did in Gillespie Park was we looked up the property owner on the county's tax roll, and then we looked at the city's permit site to see if they had ever submitted for a permit with a phone number. And that's how we contacted them, if we didn't already know who they were. If we couldn't do that, we sent them a certified letter with a deadline. And it was extra work to do, but we got what we needed, and we're having speed tables installed accordingly. The hardest part, honestly, was getting someone to agree to put that speed table in front of their house. Because everybody signed our petition and wanted the speed tables on the street, but nobody wanted it in front of their house. So there's some work you have to do as a neighborhood leader to make this happen in your neighborhood. The city's gonna do their part, but we have to do our part. I know it's easy to think to yourself, well, hell, if the data says put it in, then who cares what the people think? Well, we do still live in America, and it is a democracy, so that is the process. Is it some work? Yes. But these guys were awesome with us. You can get an email. We did emails from people out of state, out of the city. They accepted an email. So there are different steps you can take to reach those property owners. Go ahead. Next question.
Eileen Walsh, Hudson Bayou. Is there an expedited procedure for when traffic patterns change, such as in the event of the installation of a water main all along the North Trail? Chances are the traffic is going to be going through neighborhoods to get around, and how would they petition for traffic calming?
Yeah, so in the past, based on previous, detour routes, and I think there was construction of the roundabouts on US 41, those are allowed temporarily. I know the utilities department's working on doing a project where it's going to detour. We can certainly work with them to do temporary speed mitigation on major projects. That's what I would say.
If I could add to that, in our last presentation, we heard about two pretty big capital improvement projects, one on North Trail, one on South Osprey. As a follow-up to that, the board has sent a letter to the utilities department, as well as the city staff and commissioners asking to work with us for follow-up to be out ahead of that traffic that's going to divert over, and we're working on that. That's not something that is one and done. We haven't forgotten your concerns and your questions.
Hi. Once an
Jody Geiger.
Yes,
Bayou Oaks.
Hello? Hi. Okay, Jody Geiger, Bayou Oaks. Once a qualification has been made for a certain calming traffic area, how long does it take before it's actually implemented?
So the length of time between the solutions development to implementation it varies. It depends on the type of solutions that's being presented. So if you score a 6 or higher, we bring a couple different solutions, so that way the neighborhood could provide feedback before our final solution is determined. So that takes time. And then if it scores 5 or less, we do provide a striping or signage or a quick build, and then them reaching out to their neighborhoods to get consensus takes time. So once we hear back and get that consensus from 5 or less, then we would implement based on available funding and the workload on our crew. And then if it scores 6 or higher, we would have to wait for the petition to come back, and then again, it would be based on available funding.
So just to give a little more information on that, if you don't mind, when you reach out to the city and ask them to do some work in your neighborhood to check to see what the speeding is, they come out and put the stripes down, that turnaround is really quick. It's just a couple of weeks, depending on when you say you want them to do it, because you have a voice in that to say, we want you to come on these 3 days. The petition process, you have 90 days to do it. And then the cutoff is there, so you need to make sure that you're actively working that. Then the clock starts for when they have the money to do it, and depending on what they're going to do.
I will say,
And if there's 4 hurricanes, you're gonna wait.
I will say, the Gillespie Park neighborhood it's been over a year since they initiated the process, and the speed tables haven't been installed yet, but we're getting there.
We turned in our petitions in July, I think. But then we had, 3 hurricanes and a major storm.
Thank you. Leslie Butterfield, Bay Island, Siesta Key. My question is about roads that are not city-owned, but for example, county roads. We've got in our district county roads and I believe state road as well. So is the process the same, or how do we do that?
So the county has recently reinitiated their traffic calming process, and then we would route people for county roads to the county, and then state roads, we would not do, I would not go through this process. They would just accept your comments, and if they have a project coming up, they would investigate if they could implement anything in their project.
Dean Anderson, Avondale. I just want to follow up. That was actually the question I had because of South Osprey, which is a big concern as a transit point between Avondale and Hudson Bayou. There's a bus stop there now. We've been asking for a crosswalk for a while now, and we've been denied that. And it's a real safety concern. So South Osprey is a county road, I believe.
It's a city road.
City road, okay. So anyway, we'd like that to be looked into, have a crosswalk there in South Osprey. I know we have traffic calming on South Osprey, we appreciate that, but that's not stopping the speeders, and it's a real pedestrian area. Thank you.
I would just highlight that the crosswalk would not go through this program since it's not traffic calming, but that's something we can take back and look into.
Richard Parlato, Indian Beach, Sapphire Shores. In your table on page 6, you talk about points for no sidewalks. The great majority of our neighborhood has no sidewalks. Mm-hmm. And we think 1 point is a little low for that determining factor. We have lots of dogs, lots of people walking with their dogs all the time. And I do it myself, and I'm subject to people that are doing 10, 20, 30 miles an hour over the speed limit, depending on what street it is, because we're walking on the streets and not able to get to sidewalks.
Yeah, that's why we've given more points to speeding as opposed to, the sidewalk issue. The traffic calm program is about people speeding. So what we've increased is the amount of points that you get based on speeding, essentially.
When we talk about people speeding, I'm more concerned about people's safety that are walking these streets rather than being in cars.
So sidewalks are done through a separate funding source, and if you're wanting sidewalks in your neighborhood, we're happy to have you send us an email with those locations, and we can evaluate that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Chris?
It was already answered, thanks.
Anyone else? I'm sorry. No, sorry. The questions have to come from the table. So, if you got up and whispered in somebody's ear, I wouldn't see that. But now that you've already raised your hand, we kind of, have a little bit of a problem. I just wanted to say that. Anybody else have any other questions for the group? Lou, who is on the committee, I love that.
I would just like to add some additional clarification for everyone. When we started this process, 70% of the requests were being rejected by the old system. You got nothing. It just dead-ended the process right at the beginning. At this point now, and it depends depends how you look at it. I believe we're at the point that only 30% will be rejected. Basically, almost everyone's going to get something to help. So I just want to make that clear to everyone, is how bad the system was before to how well it's going to work moving forward.
Thank you, Lou.
Can I just add something to what Lou said?
Absolutely.
So this evaluation that we did for the speeding criteria, that was just for scores. We looked at what scored 6 or higher. That's a 71% increase. We didn't acknowledge the ones that scored between 3 and 5. So that could be an even larger number of areas that are getting traffic calming treatments through this new program.
Quick question.
We have a question over here.
I know I'm going to get asked this question. So, St. Armand's, Chris, hey, good job. What if you have a street that people speed on certain times of the day, morning rush hour, afternoon rush hour? If you measure it at just those times, you'd be like, wow. But if you average it over the course of 24 hours, over the course of the week, it won't be that impressive. How do you deal with that?
So we work really closely with our Sarasota Police Department, and in those instances, we would coordinate with the neighborhood to identify specific locations and times, and we would work with SPD to put enforcement out during that time, within their rotation. So.
But in terms of the 85th percentile?
So we look at the 85th percentile. It's a 3-day study taken over 72 hours. So those instances would be taken into the data.
But averaged out?
No, it's not averaged out. It's each one is plotted out, and then you see where 85% is going. So it's
So
a
you do look at the
statistical
time.
analysis. It's not an average. Yeah, which is to your benefit.
Anyone else have questions?
One
Oh,
more
I see.
question.
I see a hand up over here.
Helen Habbard from Laurel Park. Do you ever proactively initiate calming projects because you know that there's a problem or there's a project coming up like on Osprey that you don't have to wait for a neighborhood application?
So we have projects in our capital improvement program that we evaluate. However, this program is specifically for neighborhoods coming to us to share their concerns and move through this. So we do have projects listed out in our capital improvement program. It's a 5-year plan that shows funding allocated to certain projects, and then we move through that process. We plan for those projects, which involves getting data and analyzing what some of the challenges are and seeing if we can find solutions to address those challenges as the project comes online.
I would like to just ask I know of 2 neighborhoods that are here that don't have any sidewalks. If you want to have sidewalks in your neighborhood, that'll be a neighborhood. I know one neighborhood doesn't want them at all, but Indian Beach, if you want sidewalks put into your neighborhood, we need to start that process with the right group of people within the city. After your neighborhood has, as a group, said, we want this. And then we can start that process, because the next question is then, would you get priority over, me asking for a finished sidewalk on 6th Street where I only have one on one side? How would the city prioritize that? Which would be a completely different meeting, but something to think about, okay? Anybody else have any questions? I want to thank you guys for your hard work. Really, truly amazing what you've accomplished, Norm. And if the committee members that are here could just stand up and be recognized. You guys worked so hard, did such amazing work. I'm really, really proud of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so next, we still have other initiatives, believe it or not. We have a park initiative, and Flo is going to talk about that.
Hello, everyone. So through, I guess, Ken Thompson Park is kind of when we started rallying on how to protect our parks. So we decided to create a parks committee to work with the city to see if we can start to rezone our parks from G governmental to a more appropriate zone that will protect them. So I want to announce our committee. It's a committee of 5. But Richard and I are the only 2 that are here from the committee, so hi. The other people on the committee are Barbara Powell Harris, who is on the board. She is the, right now, District 1 director. And then Ted Wilson and Richard Sherman? No, is it?
Sure.
Hang on. Yeah, where are my notes? Yes, Parkes. Yes, Sherman. Okay. So basically, the CCNA goal is to provide broader protections applicable to all city parks. And as the city grows, our parks are essential for quality of life, sustainability, and environmental issues. So the last CCNA meeting, we literally got organized. We got our committee together. And just this past week, we met with Lucia Panica and Steve Cover from the city. And we had a very productive meeting. We asked a lot of questions. We're waiting for some information from the city. We're doing some work on the committee itself. So we're in the infancy stage, but I think within a month of getting the committee started and where we are now, I'm like, yay, we're making progress. So thank you to Steve Cover and Lucia. Really more to come on that. We don't have too much more to offer at this point, because like I said, we're in the beginning stages of this, so thank you.
Sorry, somebody asked the question. That traffic calming manual is also available on our website if you would like to have a digital copy. And I have a couple of extra copies up here. The other committee that is important to us is meaningful neighborhood input as it relates to development. And Jim Ludwig, who's also not here today due to Lake Lido Key residents meeting, gave me a sheet to read to you. So, excuse me, I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to look up at you like I should. We have been working on meaningful public input for several years now and have made progress. City management regularly reaches out to CCNA and its membership for their input to be on be it on a committee level, the board level, or at a membership meeting. Staff are very receptive to meeting with us well in advance of major decision making. Does that mean mission accomplished? No, not at all. What that means is we are at a point where we can communicate with each other on a mutually respectful level. As we continue into early 2025, our initiative is currently focused on one key piece, changing the DRC process, Development Review Committee, for those of you that don't know what the DRC acronym means. All parties, city staff, neighborhoods, and developers agree the existing DRC process is outdated and needs a fresh look. If you remember, Lucia reached out to CCNA last May, letting us know that they will be taking on a review of the DRC process. In the updated city strategic plan, this is an action item to examine the DRC process and site plan requirements. Lucia has recently reached out to CCNA and others to confirm their interest in participation in providing input to the project. Obviously, we said yes, we want to participate, and we're currently waiting on the next step from Lucia. People that are in the room that are going to be part of that committee, raise your hand for the DRC process. Anybody that's here? 1, 2, 3. I know there's somebody else here. There we go, back there. So we are going to be wholly focused on that. Next, from a meaningful input perspective, we've been talking with staff, senior management, and commissioners about a key checkoff part of the DRC process, compatibility. For too long, it has been glanced over or completely ignored using the excuse it is subjective and we only deal with objective criteria. MI's goal is to create an objective definition of compatibility like other communities have successfully done. In discussions with planning, they feel that 75% or more objective criteria is already in the zoning code, but buried a piece here and a piece there. Our preliminary discussion with several commissioners has been positive, and we expect their sponsorship. There are many more things we'll be tackling, including administrative review, workshops, breaking down the barriers between residents and developers, and looking at improving the effectiveness of advisory boards. If you want to participate on the Meaningful Neighborhood Input Committee, please reach out to either Jim Ludwig or myself and let us know you want to be a part of that process. We are looking for a couple of new people to participate on that committee. Anybody have any questions on Park Initiative or Meaningful Neighborhood Input? Now's the time. You are a winner today. Ding, ding. meeting.
Are the committee meetings open?
Hang on, Kevin.
Are the committee meetings open to the general membership to attend?
Not usually, because if we tried to arrange it so that, we had it, we would never get a meeting accomplished, frankly. Could we announce it, and if you wanted to come and sit quietly in the back room, we could do that. But know that we're not gonna change the meeting date because you're not available.
No.
Okay.
I would be asking that.
Okay.
Like at our neighborhood association meetings,
Mhm.
the public can attend, and there's a comment period at the end where obviously they can't ask questions or participate, but they can make a comment at the end. Are meetings held in a similar fashion?
Okay. You know what? My answer to you is, I don't know. The board can talk about it at the next board meeting. Would someone please write that down so we don't forget? And come back to you with, all of you, with the answer on how we can accomplish that.
Okay, thank you. The reason I ask is because,
Richard has something to add.
Yeah, as past president, I would say I have always believed that we are a public operation, and so you can come attend, and this is the first time the question has come up from this body, so thank you for bringing that up. I think they should be.
So we can announce our committee meetings on our website, and then you would see when they're happening. They're usually downtown in the city somewhere, and we would ask, though, if you're going to come all the time, sign up to be on the committee.
I would just add that most of the committees meet in my office's conference room, and we don't have space for a lot of extra people.
I have something to add. I guess maybe it's more of a question.
Go ahead.
So, like, our first parks meeting, we met with city staff. I don't know if those meetings should be open up to the public. It's like the initial powwow with, I don't know, it's just something to throw out there, since we're discussing it.
We'll put it on the agenda and for the next board meeting and hash through it and come back to you guys with something that's logical, that works for everyone. How does that sound? Everybody good with that? Great. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Thank you, everyone, for your attention, and thank you again to Alvy Marie, Corinne, and Nick for really working with us to make things happen. Thank you so much. Thank you to Norm for driving it home, and Lou for driving it home, making it happen. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, Norm wants to add something. Okay, Norm.
Can I make just one comment on this? I do know we have a committee on meaningful input for development. What I'd like to suggest is that this whole process with traffic calming is one element of meaningful citizen input. So meaningful citizen input comes in many different ways in different directions. And I hope that that was recognized and realized. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. Okay, wow, we're to item 4 on the agenda. We need to approve January 4th meeting minutes. They are attached to the agenda for today on the back. If I can get a motion to approve our January meeting minutes. That was Valerie. Do I have a second? Jody Geiger. Valerie Bouchon. And Jody Geiger. Any further discussion on the minutes? Any changes? All in favor? Aye. Any against? Okay, approved unanimously. Thank you, Daniel. Next, we have officer reports. So we'll start with you, Melinda, with the treasurer report.
Thank you to everyone who has paid dues. I know just this morning I received from Bay Island, Avondale, and Plymouth Harbor, so thank you to those delegates who brought those in. If anybody else has dues they want to give to me today, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, you can mail them in to the P.O. box that's on the website, or you can drop them by my office downtown. Just come talk to me after if you'd like.
Do we have any money?
That's a bit of a complicated complicated question because we are in the process of changing bank accounts, so I could not check the status this morning, but it's a little more than $5,000. Oh, and I got another one. Bay Point, thank you.
Hello?
So I'm gonna make my district rep, take it from the bottom district rep focus, old business number 6. So we have 3 new district directors, but over the years, no, I guess, the 3 districts, D1 has maybe like 8 neighborhoods, D2 has like 20 neighborhoods, and D3 has 4 neighborhoods. So we've decided to rearrange the neighborhoods and not do district, but do areas. So that's what this sheet is here. So now each person has 11 neighborhoods to deal with. It's a little more of an even playing field for everybody. So we're now doing area reps. Area rep A is Barbara Powell Harris, who's not here. Area rep B is Beth. No, Nothstein or Nothstein? Okay. And then we have Leslie Spangler is Area C. So those are the people that you would contact. So here's the new breakdown. I don't think, do you guys have anything you want to add to that? Okay, so they're there for you to reach out to if you have any questions or concerns. They are going to be sending out an email with all this new information, and they'll be contacting you to join some of your neighborhood meetings. And then eventually they will probably be meeting with the commissioners as well to introduce themselves. So if you guys have nothing else to add, I think that's pretty much it. We just reworked the areas so it's even work for everybody. So does anybody have any questions about the change?
Thank you. Actually, because I'm new, I'm curious about what is the role of these new district reps?
So the position is not new. We just renamed them, and their job is basically what I just described, is to get together with you guys, come to some of your neighborhood meetings, find out what your issues are, and they're just another avenue of communication.
If I could add, if you're trying to accomplish something in your neighborhood and you're not sure how to go about it, who you should talk to in the city, what the rules are, what the process is, a great person for you to reach out to is your area director, because if they don't know the answer, they're gonna ask somebody else and they'll find an answer for you to help you get where you wanna go. That's a big part of what they do. I was area director before I had this role, and I went to all the meetings, or as many as possible in my area. And frankly, what I got out of it was great ideas for other neighborhoods to emulate. So they're kind of like the conduit across the different neighborhoods to help us be stronger neighborhoods, to use our voice with the city, and to accomplish things we want to accomplish that are important to us as neighborhoods.
Yeah, they're a liaison for the neighborhoods.
Also, we have an area director that's new this year on the board that wasn't able to come to our January meeting, so she didn't get to introduce herself. If Leslie would like to stand up and introduce herself and give a little bit of information about who she is, where she lives, and what's important to her, that would be great. Sorry to surprise you, Leslie. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Leslie Spangler. Hold the mic up. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm Leslie Spangler. You probably know me. Leslie, up a little more. You probably know me as the Alta Vista delegate who doesn't hold the mic up high enough all the time. And now I'm Area C director. And in this role, my area of interest is infrastructure, and especially as our density increases. And my sort of working philosophy is one of being inclusive, and also one that relies on evidence and data. So I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody. I know I'm new here, and to help you keep the city of Sarasota and your Area C neighborhoods a great place to live. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Beth, do you have anything you'd like to offer up?
I do. So just so you guys know, they are chomping at the bit to get this email out to you guys, and I put it on hold because I'm waiting to get all this updated information, the new sheets. So anyone that hasn't I've sent emails out to everybody, any neighborhood that has not turned in their form or their dues, please make sure that happens so we can get all the information updated so they can make sure they're contacting the right people. Thank you.
Because Flo is so sweet, she didn't say to you, the deadline was January 15th, so
I put it in the
keep it going, people.
There was a
Send your
meeting.
form in. All right, so on to old business. We had 2 positions on water quality and concurrence that Eileen and I are working on. Eileen, raise your hand for those that don't know who you are. Thank you. We've already met with Pat Robinson and got some good, clear information from him. And we have a follow-up meeting. Part of the kind of slowing us down a little bit is the city hired a new person that will be responsible for some of this. And we thought that, we shouldn't show up on her first day of work. We should, at least let her have orientation. So we are meeting again with the city staff on February 10th, Eileen and I on that. We mentioned this earlier. Eileen asked the question, I added this. The capital improvement project follow-up, we have sent a letter to the city and Vern Hall to ask to be a part of the planning process for traffic calming in anticipation of the North Trail project, as well as the South Osprey project, to be a part of that to help come up with solutions. I actually went and checked the speed limit of every single street that was mentioned as a concern, and then the speed limit on actually the North Trail. And there is a significant concern from my standpoint. North Trail speed limit is 45, Old Brington Road is 35, and Beach Road is 25. So those are the places people are gonna jump over to, so we want to. Central Coconut is 30, correct. So we want to make sure we haven't forgotten that. And we talked about the survey. It is time for neighborhood reports. Who would like to go first? Chris. Oh, all right, Chris got his hand up. Pardon me? Oh, Pat, do you want to go first?
I'll come up, sure.
Come on up, Pat. Maybe you'll have all the answers and we won't have any questions.
No, come on. I can't do that. I'd be out of a job.
No, that would just mean we were really communicating well using Click to Fix and all that stuff.
Oh, man.
By the way, if you haven't used Click to Fix and you don't have it on your phone, I strongly suggest you do so. And before you ask Pat to fix something in your neighborhood, if you haven't put it on Click to Fix, you could really help him expedite faster by using Click to Fix. Pat, how was my message? Was it good? All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. I'm hiring you.
Thank you. I feel like I work for you for free already.
My lowest paid employee. No, we have a lot of initiatives that are still underway. Obviously, we're still recovering from the storm, still engaging with a lot of the neighborhoods. I had an opportunity to make a presentation at the Florida City County Mayors Association yesterday. Is it working? I just have to put it right in my face. Every single municipality on the west coast of Florida is having the same challenges that we are. I know a lot of you have contacted me about street lights. It is not due to a lack of funding or a lack of desire. It's actually the supply chain issues. So I talked to Nick. Is Nick still here? There he is. All right, perfect. So I can throw him under the bus. Nick and I had a conversation before we started. It's looking like summertime. We're getting stuff in dribs and drabs, and as we get them, we're trying to repair everything as we can. But everyone is battling it out for the same resources that we're all looking for: concrete, heavy equipment, electrical boxes, electrical light fixtures. So for example, Nick, we got a bunch of bulbs in for Arlington, but we don't have the guts for the lights. So we can fix the bulbs, but the electrical equipment isn't in to actually fix the lights yet. So this is gonna be, unfortunately, until the supply chain actually smooths out a little bit. We are absolutely hearing the concerns. When you guys send them to me, we send them out to staff. It's just, you can't fix something if you got nothing to fix it with. So we are working on that. The commissioners are very supportive of the funding requests that we're making, budget amendments to fix these things, but it is literally an issue of getting some of these supplies to get out there and fix those issues. So
Pat,
With-
was
yes,
it Arlington Park? You were like-
Arlington, yes, I'm sorry.
The park itself, because,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, because
Yes.
there's parking
It is-
stop.
it's
I
a-
just want to pass it on to the neighbors.
It's pretty much everywhere. I mean, there were so many lights that were damaged. I don't have a specific number, but I can tell you probably over 100 different lights, either FP&L or city lights that were damaged during the hurricane. And it just, we're, as you all know, with those 3 storms, pretty much every municipality, every county was touched by those 3 storms all the way up the West Coast in the Big Bend area. So we're all fighting over the same. Apparently everybody really likes the same lights all the way across Florida. So, we tried to change them. They said they didn't have any in stock. So we're working on it. Please continue to use Click to Fix. Follow up with an email to me so we make sure that it gets assigned. And, we really appreciate that information as we move forward. So with that, I've already got my email started for my punch list for CCNA. So let me pull up my drafts. All right, let's go.
Wait, is this neighborhood reports?
Yes.
What's 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
It's a minute 30 for Chris.
Pat, we're still suffering from the hurricanes. What are you going to do about it?
Bake sale.
Good. All right, listen, St. Armand's, Chris, you guys have all met our new alternate delegate, Chuck Half. What a relief to find somebody who cares about the neighborhood and the city and wants to do more. So thank you, Chuck. And I'd also like to recognize our previous delegate and alternate, Mr. Hugh Fiore. Hugh, could you wave to the room? I think Hugh has been a delegate here for 40 or 50 years, or something like that. Okay, and to my friends at IBSS, you have a neighborhood icon now living in your neighborhood. Take advantage of this guy. St. Armand's, the Circle, the businesses. Most restaurants are open and doing great business, come out for dinner or whatever. Shops about 50-50. About half of our 200 houses are still abandoned. And why is that? People are either still trying to find a contractor with availability, they're still waiting for their flood insurance money to come in, or they're waiting to see what the real estate market does. Some combination of that. So drive through our residential streets, you'll get a slightly different perspective than the Circle itself. But we're fighting through this, and thanks to the city for all you're doing. I'd still like to have meetings before the summer to talk from a resident perspective about what went well and what didn't. The debrief, the post-mortem. Could we have done something different, letting people back on the islands? The parking garage, who's allowed in, who's not, when, things like that. Garbage pickup, debris pickup, what our expectations were versus what actually happened. I think a lot of residents would like to be heard if you could bring us into a city workshop.
I'm pretty sure we're going to have a debrief with the commissioners, I think in March, but I think that'll be a workshop at the city, but I think we need to do something on the island so people can come out and actually hear what happened. Because, I know there was a lot of criticism reference to debris pickup and the timing of all those things. And as we talked about, we are absolutely looking to make that system better, smoother. I don't have a time limit. Be it better, smoother, and more effective. So we're absolutely committed to doing that, and Chris will work with you guys to make that happen, okay?
Enough talk, more action, Pat.
Look, man, you got me tapped out. I'm doing everything I can.
All right, thank you, guys.
I'm bringing Hugh on. He's my new assistant, so any complaints, send them to Hugh.
Thank you.
Good morning, Suzanne from Tolles Court. I have something that I have been asked to read for from our President Anna. President Anna apologizes for her absence due to weird accident triggered by a speeding car, unleashed dog, and Milton debris. She aspires to see you no later than April. Small business and the artists' open studios continue to thrive. Anna continues to closely monitor developments at 200 South Washington Boulevard. Many thanks to our city and Nancy Kelley for neighborhood recognition signage on Lynx Avenue. So she's unable to be here because of that. She is healing very slowly, but be careful when you're walking your neighborhood to people. Anyway, thank you, and have a great day.
Lucas, the Bird Key, no report.
Rita Bukowskis, alternate for Glen Oaks Ridge, no report.
Maria Chalinas, a surprise alternate for this morning because our president is not well. I have been with Central Coconut for many, many years at the beginning of our neighborhood, 20 plus years ago. At interim, and I'm back helping, just a helper at the moment, but I love my neighborhood. I love what's going on. We are getting a beautiful sculpture that's going to be dedicated around the bottom, 14th Street this month, the 11th, I understand. You will hear from the city and from our president about that information. So we are really, really feeling like the neighborhood is coming our way and we are coming to downtown Sarasota.
David Lowe, Disca, no real report other than to say, Kelley, we look forward to having you at our board meeting this coming Wednesday. So Kelley's going to be our guest speaker and we really look forward to that.
Thank you, David.
Hello, Mark Spiegel, Golden Gate Point Association alternate. The whole topic of traffic calming was very poignant for our neighborhood because we're considering it. And as I mentioned earlier, there are no speed limit signs, so I'm not sure how we're going to be able to qualify for this analysis if there is no speed limit signs yet. So that's something that we'll follow up on. And the other issue that's always prevalent in our neighborhood is due to the extensive development that's going on in Golden Gate Point. We work with the developers to try to make sure that the contractors don't park in the public parking places on the neighborhood all day long, and we're looking at some alternative ways to enforce that.
Thank you. Good morning. Ricky Lindsay, Bay Point Park Neighborhood Association, and I want to thank the city for so quickly restoring our street lights and also for the debris pickup. You guys absolutely rocked it. Relative to today's presentation on the traffic calming, we have our street light was taken away from us at Orange Avenue and Gulfview Drive. It is our only signalized way out of our neighborhood. So now we get to make left-hand turns across traffic on Orange Avenue. Removing that light has actually encouraged speeding. So it is not traffic calming by any means to take that away. The light could have been replaced or fixed in place, and why it was removed, we've gotten several different explanations. It's an on-demand light. It doesn't unnecessarily stop traffic flow, but it does keep people from speeding. There's a great deal of construction traffic in our neighborhood now as we're rebuilding. We were severely impacted by both Helene and Milton, so we have a lot of construction trucks in and out. This is a safety concern. This isn't just convenience for us getting out. For instance, Harbor Acres has a signalized exit out of their neighborhood. Also, it impacts pedestrians because now there's no longer a way for them to cross the street safely, and there's no pedestrian crosswalk between Selby Event Center and Hillview Drive. And since Selby's not honoring their promise to prevent southbound turns out of their event center after events, the flow of traffic is an issue. So we respectfully request, again, that the traffic department reinstall the light as soon as possible, and we appreciate it. We truly appreciate what the city has done for us post hurricane. We'd really love it if you would honor this request and protect the neighbors in our neighborhood as well as the pedestrians who use that crosswalk or did quite often. Thank you.
Steve Swall, alternate with Gillespie Park, no report.
Okay. We're sharing, and I know I need the microphone. Can you hear me? Because I have a soft voice. Lynn Elkis, Gillespie Park. I want to add something about this community, which is a wonderful community, but there are people in our community that were not severely hit by the hurricane that do not realize, even though they hear about it, they do not realize the impact of how this has influenced so many people and neighborhoods in not just the city, but extended beyond into the county, and I just have to say that. For our neighborhood in Gillespie Park, we are having our historic marker placed on March 7th at 10 a.m. if anybody wants to join us. That's to commemorate our 100 years, which is very exciting. It's been a long-awaited celebration on the 7th. Then we are having a 100-year anniversary celebration event in the park on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's going to be a very exciting day, weather permitting. Okay, and I also just wanted to mention about the traffic calming. Kelley has been the most proactive person I've ever met relating to this, and hopefully that will be resolved by this summer. Again, if we don't have any surprise storms, who knows what Mother Nature will bring to us. And I believe that's it for the moment. Thank you.
Eileen Normile, Hudson Bayou. Our organization is hosting at Pomelo Park, if you know where that is. It's near the old lift station, which is now gone, and there's a lovely little park there. Thank you, city. A music and art afternoon this coming February 9th from 1 to 4. There will be arts and crafts, and there will be music, and you must bring your own beverages. But there will be chairs provided by the city, and we do appreciate that, and so we hope to see you there. I'd like to put in a word for Ricky's request. I walk in that area, and it's really hard to get across Orange Avenue at times. People are dodging all over the place. I really miss that light. Finally, I'd like to put in be the voice of the voiceless. That's my Chihuahua. Any of you have been to the Arlington Park Dog Park? It's a little like a minimum security prison with a dirt floor. It's really, well, you're laughing because you've been to prisons, and so have I. It's awful. It's just awful. You can't. The benches are forbidding. There's mud. I mean, actually, dog parks are for people. They sit there for half an hour while their dogs are with them, but it is part of the park system and deserves the same attention as the rest of the park system. So if you would, I will let my Chihuahua know. I'll send you her email address.
I'll follow her on Instagram. Just for the record, Richard, what is number 1 on there? Before I even sat down.
Dog park at Arlington.
There you go. I was on it already, so we'll take a look and see what we can do.
Just so you know, when they decide they're gonna resod and do all that work, your dog park will be closed for 6 weeks. That's how long it was closed for Gillespie. Just so you know, so you can come over to Gillespie again.
We're closing Eileen's for 7 weeks.
Dean Anderson, Avondale, ditto, as a 90-pound lab owner. We have a couple of upcoming events I just wanted to pass on. We have our annual business meeting on February 25th, 4 to 6. We're doing it this year at Payne Park Tennis Center at the club there, since we have a small neighborhood that accommodates us really well. They have a full bar. It's perfect. Our annual spring social is going to be March 28th, 6 to 10 p.m. in the neighborhood, and featuring the Michael Ross Trio. So Pat, a couple things for you. If you can get me an update on that sidewalk that's all torn up it's on Via Vista, real near South Osprey. Big tree fell out of that in a storm, and that sidewalk hasn't been repaired, and there's no sidewalk on the other side, so kids walking to school, whatever, it's kind of a safety thing. I know it's marked off, I think they've looked at it, but it needs to be addressed. We still have 2 lights out in the middle of the neighborhood. I know you're talking about lights, and I'm sure it's supplies, whatever, but we're looking dark. Nick Patel, A couple years ago, you came to Avondale and we had an infrastructure meeting, remember? And you said, we're in the queue. Are we? I've heard nothing. And we've had, you said we have to pass the penny tax. We passed the penny tax. So I have a meeting with Doug Jeffcoat's coming to one of our meetings. We're going to be talking about it. I'd like to get that back on the table and finally get some, curbs and sidewalks that will work properly in our 100-year-old neighborhood. Thank you.
Kevin Spence, Indian Beach, Sapphire Shores. Pat, I've heard rumors that there was going to be a stormwater management and construction is currently a county issue, that the city has an agreement with them. We've heard that there may be a dissolution of that. Is there any update on that?
There are conversations going on between both the city and the county. It's been part of the county. I don't want to talk for the commissioner since he's here, but I'm going to anyways. He can correct me if I'm wrong. Hold on.
Let's give him a mic.
Yeah, it's an ongoing conversation. This is a bigger conversation. It's a community conversation. So as it currently stands in 1990, the county took over the stormwater management for the city of Sarasota. So there is an interlocal. There is conversation about how that should proceed moving after this current year. They've had one workshop. It's 5 of the 6 strategic items on the county's topics to review are about stormwater. So there are conversations about how we can most efficiently and effectively address those concerns between the 2 government organizations. I mean, everybody in this room knows things are different than they were in 1990. So that's part of the conversation. I think dissolution is a little aggressive. I think we're just looking to see if that's the most effective way to handle it at this point. Like I said, that presentation I did was all about the 3 storms and the amount of water that we had to bring on and handle in that very short amount of time. And there were definitely things that didn't go correctly with the actual infrastructure itself. But those are things that are going to cost an awful lot of money and take an awful lot of time to get rectified, because anything underground, as all of you know, talking about putting stormwater lines in or water lines in, it's very disruptive. It's very costly and very time consuming for staff and for the contractors that work on that. So it is a conversation that's going on. I wouldn't say dissolution is the right way to frame it. I think the best way to look at it is we're having meetings between both of the major governmental entities that handle those type of things in our community to make sure that we're doing right by our constituents and our citizens and visitors and businesses. So that is something that's going around, so you can set it straight. We are having those conversations, but I don't think anybody on either side is going, we're done, and walking away. That is not how that conversation is going.
Thanks.
If I could add, our April meeting here will be about water, bay water quality, stormwater, etc. So hopefully you'll be here for that.
Ellen Haber, Laurel Park. We have a new committee working on cleaning up the mini bayou at the end of Ohio Street, where we have a kayak launch, and have been working with the city on that, and that seems to be making some progress. We're very eager for the Oak Street repairs, renovation, resurfacing to start. It was delayed with the storms. That's fine, we understand, and that will be a big project. And the semi-annual neighborhood meeting will be held on Monday, February 24th at Tamiami Tap, for anyone who would like to join us. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
Joyce Fitzpatrick, Plymouth Harbor. 2 things. The hole that I reported last month is still there, and it is becoming bigger, and I think it's a real danger to people walking along the sidewalk. It's the hole from Coon Key as you're going towards Armand along the sidewalk. Some trash has been taken away. People are starting to use this big hole as a trash receptacle. So it's beginning to fill up again. And I just want to report, because it is a danger to pedestrians on that beautiful new pedestrian walkway that we have there. The other thing is, I think everybody knows that we're planning, or if you don't know, we are planning an 11-story building in the front of our present building to accommodate 3 levels of parking and 8 levels of residence. It's going to be a major project, and our resident association asked me to find out, are there any construction restrictions? This will be almost next to the road. Of course, the sidewalks there, and there will be some plantings. Are there any construction restrictions along evacuation routes? It's gonna be about 3 years.
Well, of course there are. It's a city. That's what we do. We put restrictions on things. We've actually had meetings with George already to talk through some of those things. So that's an ongoing conversation between staff and your administration. So as far as restrictions, as in not allowing them to happen, no, there's no restrictions of like a moratorium. That's not in place. However, there are building code issues and there's some zoning issues that we're working with the administration of Plymouth Harbor to address as we move through that. It will be a 3-year project, I would guess. They have not breached the threshold to get all their paperwork in for completeness through our permitting staff. So they are being very good, very professional, and they're working through all those things. So you can report back to the neighborhood, the resident association, that the administration of Plymouth Harbor is absolutely doing their due diligence. They've interfaced with both Steve, Lucia, as well as our office, and we're working through some of the issues that they've got.
That's great, because as you can sense, there is a little bit of concern and controversy about this whole thing. In fact, Plymouth Harbor residents have been offered to get their entrance fee back if they decide they want to move, because it is going to be 3 years of lots of noise and construction.
My grandfather lives in Plymouth Harbor, and he don't like it, so I hear about it all the time. So whenever you guys go home and you stop, I still have to hear about it. So. As far as the washout is concerned, we have reported that to the state. They are looking at getting a solution. That whole area is managed by FDOT, that's state land. So even though the MIRT is adjacent to that, all of those plantings and that seed line, we're gonna look at what we can do on our end to shore it up in the interim until they get out there and do a
That would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there is a concern.
I know right where it
danger.
is. I've seen it.
Jody Geiger, Bayou Oaks Neighborhood Association. On February 6th, we are finally meeting with Parks and Recreation for improvement on North Water Tower Park. Long time coming, really excited about it. February 22nd, we're doing an Adopt a Road cleanup, Old Bradenton Road. I have 3 areas of concern for traffic calming. Mecca has speed bumps that are not striped. You don't know they're there until you've hit them. Roundabout at Myrtle and Old Bradenton Road qualified for traffic calming over a year ago. We're still waiting for something to happen there. I also have 3 major crosswalks in our area that is heavily used by pedestrians that we would really like to see either better marking or some kind of traffic calming or just an isolated pedestrian light to stop traffic for the pedestrians to go. Thanks.
What was the last location? I'm sorry, Richard was yelling at me.
Regarding the
The
crosswalks?
crosswalk, yes ma'am.
Okay, there's 3 of them.
Okay.
One at MLK and Old Bradenton Road. The college students are really good at taking over that crosswalk, as well as MLK and 41. The students are going the same time traffic is, so traffic gets backed up and students are in a dangerous position. The other one is at Myrtle and 41, people trying to cross from Walmart's and the dollar store over to the pharmacies, or even just to go to the park at Indian Beach.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Barbara Beard, San Remo, no report.
Alan Pariser, South Poinsettia Park. First, I was very interested in hearing about the new traffic calming process that's been set up. We went through that procedure a year and a half or 2 years ago. I think I'll go back and relook at some of the information and see if the results would have been different. And I guess what I heard is we can reapply after a certain period of time. And we'll see what the results are. Related to traffic calming, but not really traffic calming, would be the dodgem cards that people are playing on 41. I had an incident on the way here. I'm not sure what this person was trying to do other than weave in and out of traffic to get to a traffic light that was clearly red less than a couple blocks ahead. So I don't think Officer Mann is here, but perhaps the city could look into perhaps having some more active police coverage of speeding and weaving on 41 in particular. Very, very dangerous, and unfortunately endemic in Florida, not just to Sarasota. I'm not sure why. So that's my only complaint for the day. Everything else is very good. We're pleased to find out that our paving project for 2 streets is delayed, but will happen, probably starting next week sometime, and that will be very much appreciated. I was always also very pleased to hear that school speeding cameras have been installed, and if I heard it correctly, it said Southside Village School was part of the project and is now active, if I heard that correctly, Pat?
That's correct. I think we're, in totality, we'll be installing 5 in the infancy of the project. There were 2 that came online about 2 weeks ago, and the 2 that just came online were South Side and I believe Alta Vista. So very interested to see the outcome of those projects. Obviously, it's a warning period for the first 30 days, but definitely be mindful. Look at the information on social media, because they're out there. You're not going to see a police officer that's going to be sitting there with a uniform and a radar gun. It's just going to be a pole, and if you're speeding, if you're 11 miles over the speed limit, you will be cited. So just we are really excited about the fact that that's going to bring those speeds down around those school zones during those specified time periods. But I will put out, Kelley, I'll get just an informational update if it's not already on your website. I'll get the information pertaining to all the specific locations, times, etc. for those speed cameras. I think it's going to be really valuable, especially for the kids. Like if you drive in on the south side in the morning, there's so many children that are crossing 41. I think it's really going to be a good program. So appreciate that.
Very pleased.
It's all based on the number of violations that could be achieved or cited in those locations. So there's a metric that's required by the state to install them. As we currently stand, I think, like I said, I think there are 6 that qualified in the city. I believe the county is looking at installing some. Rich Collins is working on that with our team. Manatee County is doing it. Braden is doing it. So it's something that's going in all across the area. So it'll be more uniform as time goes on.
If I may just reclaim about 30 seconds of my time. Yes, I will go back to the neighborhood, make sure people are adequately informed or warned, depending on how you want to phrase it, about the new cameras. And then lastly, just want to remind everybody that yes, we are celebrating in our neighborhood our 100th anniversary. We do have a historic home tour on March 2nd from 3 to 5 p.m. There are brochures available. If anybody is interested, please see me before you head out the door. We'd love to see you there. It's open to the public. Thank you.
Good morning, Liz Mena from Park East. I'm happy to announce that our picnic is going to be on February 15th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Everyone here is invited to attend. We're going to have free food, drinks, water, sodas, and a dance performance right around 11 a.m. We wouldn't be able to do this without the support from the city and our partners, SRQ Strong, Spaces, and some folks from Creative Liberties. Really excited for this. We're gonna have tamales, rice, beans, chips, all of that good stuff. And it's a very family-friendly event. There will be like art-based activities for the kids and for families and parents to join along. So we're really excited for that. And then we did have a really a nice warm general meeting last month on the 14th. So thank you for those who were able to come from the city as well. Kelley, I know you were there. But other than that, that is Park East.
Valerie Bouchard, Resident Council of the Housing Authority. I want to thank Mr. Robinson for, because there is a change. We've seen a change on 23rd Street. So that's real good. We're looking for some more because they're beginning to gather back again. And I also want to let you know that there been talk about a garage in front of Boulevard of the Arts, and our residents that live there do not want it. They continue to make decisions without consulting the residents, And we had a workshop last week, and they said that residents are stakeholders. It don't matter how poor they are or how rich they are stakeholders. And yet these people continue to make decisions without the residents. And people are still going without housing, and that should be housed. And the Housing Authority board is very obnoxious, and I really take offense because they're lying on me now, because I represent our residents. And I want to tell y'all something, because I don't know who it is, but people feel that it's necessary to go and tell Mr. Russell on me. But I come here to tell the truth as to what is happening where we live. And I'm sorry y'all feel offended or y'all feel that y'all have to report on me. But our residents are suffering. And if the love is anywhere in you, some of y'all would try to help us. Thank you.
Valerie, real quick, one other update that you didn't mention. We had talked a little bit about the illegal dumping on 24th between Orange and 301. Our solid waste crews are going to go out there and get all that picked up, because a lot of it is not storm debris. People got moved out of apartments and just dumped their whole apartment out there. So the reports that were coming in with storm debris, when I actually drove out there and looked, there were couches and mattresses and stuff that were not wet. So we're just going to get that taken care of probably in the next couple of days. So that all should be cleaned out of there.
Thank you.
Okay, then Leslie Butterfield with Bay Island, Siesta Key. I guess you all are aware, North Siesta Key and Bay Island were extremely highly damaged by the storms. So I would say that we've still got a large number, I don't have percentages, of homes that are not livable. We also have some that are abandoned. And I'm sad to say that we have many that have been torn down or are in process of being torn down. So our neighborhood is in a pretty bad spot. One of the things our neighborhood committee is working on is building more support for our neighborhood committee so that we can be better communicating with each other. So many homes are rental at this point, and the neighborhood has changed a great deal. I know Lido and St. Armand's have different issues, but similar issues. So one of the issues that we've been working on is we have a tree down over Bayou Louise. I had the opportunity 2 months ago to speak with Mark Smith, and he set the balls rolling. In the beginning, the city didn't know what to do. The city sent me one place, the county sent me back. But we eventually found out there's a Florida Division of Waterway Debris Removal. They have now had it for almost 3 months. And at this point, we know that we have a ticket and they can't tell us anything more. So it's terribly frustrating, I have to say. So therefore, I'm really keen on a post-mortem. I felt like the city did many things during the hurricanes to help us, opened up the bridges fairly quickly, things like that. But communication could have been a whole lot better to the residents. So the last thing I want to say is we're starting to work on a newsletter as a way to build support in our community. And I would be interested if there's anyone who's successful at that to share. I'm going to spearhead that project. So if any of you in the neighborhoods are doing newsletters, if you have ideas, boy, I would love to have your contact information so we can we could share a few ideas. That's it. Thank you.
Scott Ashby, Lido Key Residents Association, another barrier island, living through all of that. I'd say compared to all over the world, all over the country, that we're still pretty lucky. And some people are able to move back. A lot of snowbirds are coming back. So there's some slacking, less numbers, but a lot of people have the faith and are going to rebuild. So along that line, I think the city did a great job. I think we're very pleased with all that they did. We had a great meeting last month with Spark with the performing arts, and 2 weeks from today we have Congressman Stube will be speaking to us. As is over the years, we continue to bring prominent people and movers and shakers. So Beth, we welcome you to our monthly meeting. It's at the Lido Beach Resort. We got to thank the Lido Beach Resort people for all the support they give us. I got to say, we're working on a scholarship. A week from Tuesday, we have a meet and greet. Beth, you could come to that at the Daiquiri Deck, and you usually get 30, 40, 50 people there. So I can't say enough about Lou and Norm. They've been working on this traffic calming for a lot of years, and it's just amazing what they've done. And we are working on our scholarships. And then the last thing, Pat, not something could be done about. I can't imagine what it's like on the point, Golden Gate Point. But the city, if the city could do something about permitting that has some impact on whether the contractor, if they've got a lot of workers, the contractor, like on Longboat Key, the contractor bust in the workers, so they weren't parking all over. And I know it's a tough issue, it's a public street, but if there was something that could be worked into the code, that a contractor, if they have a very big operation, they're gonna have to bus in their workers.
Absolutely. That actually is part of the plans that have to be submitted by the contractors. Whether they follow them is another issue altogether. Golden Gate Point, as you know, is a very unique area within the city. It is an island, and it's very, very limited on width and public parking spaces. So we do aggressively ticket out there and try to work with these contractors. I will go back to our building department and make sure that they readdress those issues with those contractors. I think you have 5 projects going right now, or 6?
We have 5, one on the way.
Right, so that there is that issue. There's a secondary issue that we've been running into, is that a lot of folks out in that neighborhood have workers that come to service their house, painters, maids, cleaning people, yard people, and they're getting caught up in the traffic or the parking onslaught as well. So it is a complicated scenario. I don't know if there's going to be any land to build out after those 6 projects. So hopefully you'll get a little satiation after that's over with. But it is definitely something that we're aware of. The association definitely reaches out to us on occasion. We usually go out and readdress it. It gets better, then it gets worse, then it gets better. So it's definitely something that we're working on. And I know Nick and the crew handles that quite a bit. So we'll go back out and readdress that. So thank you.
Norm DeMay, Glen Oaks Estates. I have a request for members of the CCNA. Our board is currently in the process of evaluating the current computer software that we're using to maintain the contact information and billing with our residents. We're interested in software that includes not only that, but possible accounting issues and storing written documents. We often have requests from our residents, and it'd be great if we could be able to store that information and what has been done in relationship to those requests. So if any of you had good experience with systems, and if you would please reach out and provide us some information about that, I very much appreciate it. Otherwise, all's doing well in the community. We're having our yard sale today. It's going on right now until 2 o'clock.
Yes, thank you. Daniel Frank, McClellan Park. Couple announcements. We have a new president of the McClellan Park Neighborhood Association, Gary Dickinson. He's also going to formally be the CCNA rep, and I'm going to step down to alternate. I don't know whether he'll be here, but officially he'll be the rep and I'll be the alternate. A couple things. Want to thank the city for the repairs on Hyde Park. Apparently that activity has driven the sandworms down Holland Parkway now, where they're now active there, and I did a collective fix there. So I would also just like to mention, although it's not right in our neighborhood, it affects our neighborhood quite a bit, all of the negative speed bump activity on Orange. There's just been a consistent pattern of a lot of sinkholes developing on Orange, particularly northbound lane, I think. So
you wanted speed mitigation, we just.
Well, we already have the speed tables. We also have that old temporary rubber thing from like 500 years ago that I'd still love to see replaced with maybe something
negative speed bump.
Maybe it could just sink into the road. So.
All right, I'll get the exact location from you. We'll work on that.
Thank you, appreciate it. And that's it.
Hi, Flo Entler, alternate for Arlington Park neighborhood. So we had to reschedule our concert in the park due to bad weather, and I'm glad I made that decision because it poured. So the new date is Sunday, February 23rd. It's from 12 to 3. The band plays 1 to 3. We have Hot Club, SRQ. They're a gypsy jazz band. We had them 2 years ago as well. Please bring a picnic lunch. Soda, water, and desserts are supplied. Some people bring their own beach chairs, but we do have the city's trailer, so we do supply chairs as well. So that's one fun event that hopefully, weather permitting, will go on. And I'm gonna give all this stuff to Jim, so there will be the CCNA newsletter or neighborhood activities going out. I didn't make copies this time. We also have Pause for a Cause happening in our park. It is being put on by the Rotary Club of Sarasota. It's February 8th at 9:30 for all of you dog people. Basically, there's a costume concert and prizes for small, medium, and large dogs. There's Olympic Games, the kissing booth. The first 100 dogs receive a swag bag. And this is all to support homeless children. They're trying to give the homeless children a $175 gift card each. So it's for children in need. So it's a good cause. And again, I'll give this to Jim to get out. So we had our neighborhood meeting this Tuesday, Pat, and we are getting neighbors to give us the lights that are out since the neighborhood's so large. So we've got a lot of that, and Rob's working on that. The other thing, there was complaints about, somebody else mentioned the striping on the speed humps on Floyd Street. We only have speed humps from east to Shade. There's none from Shade to Tuttle, but same thing, there's no striping. And when you go over them, I guess they're bottoming out. Was there one more thing?
Rats.
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but yeah, so apparently we have a rat issue in Arlington Park, and it's a big issue. And I've lived there for 26 years. In my rental property, we caught 6 rats. And it's not one of those things you go around and say to them, hey, do you have rats? Do you have rats? But someone in our neighborhood meeting said, we have rats. We're infested with rats. And we're all like, oh my God, you've got them too. So what we're finding out, one guy said, and he lives down where Bay Vista, Old Doctor Hospital on Bay Vista and Tuttle. They tore that down. We're getting 4-story apartments. We fought 4 years against those apartments and we lost. The commission voted against us on that, unfortunately. But when they took those buildings down, I guess they were infested with rats and now they're in the neighborhood. I'm assuming maybe they were living in all the debris piles. And then once those debris piles got picked up, they're now moving into the homes. So yes, Pat, we appreciate any help because it's 3 streets, multiple homes that are having a rat issue. So thank you.
Well, we got a complaint of large iguanas in the park.
They're
So
like 3 feet.
we're just gonna let the iguanas eat the rats. And then they just can't cancel the whole thing out. No, we'll definitely look into it. If you have iguanas, it's an invasive species that goes to FWC. But all kidding aside, we'll look into it.
I just want to say one thing for those people that do bring your dogs to Arlington Park. As far as we know, the rats are not in Arlington Park, but I'm trapping the rats, but people are poisoning them. And the other day, one of my neighbor's dogs had a rat in their mouth. They shouldn't be out in the daytime, so they're thinking that they're poisoned, so please just be careful with your dogs. Thank you.
Melinda Delpash from Tahiti Park, and Pat, I just want to let you know, I got 2 dogs, and I'm putting them in touch with Eileen's Chihuahua. And they're gonna go recruiting at Flo's event. So just letting you know.
Is this going to be like a new page, social media, Pets of CCNA? You do a calendar maybe? Like,
Any event, I just want to say that there's a new piece of artwork out in front of our neighborhood at 14th and 41. It's just a couple blocks north of here. If you're not in a hurry when you leave the meeting, you might want to take a look at it. It's pretty.
And go back in the dark, it's gorgeous.
Hi, Leslie Spangler again, as the Alta Vista delegate. And one topic of discussion for the Alta Vista Association is the Temple Beth Shalom project, which is being rezoned, and it's at the corner of Tuttle and Bay Vista. And it's to build a high-density 275-unit apartment building, which all car access will be on Bay Vista at Briggs, directly across from the Bay Vista, which is a 250-unit apartment that's under construction currently. So some of the people have some concerns there. So the meeting, Alta Vista meeting, will be on February 24th, and the developer will be presenting the project for the neighborhood at that meeting. So that's all the updates. Thank you.
If you can't make that meeting, Arlington Park is having them there the next day, Tuesday, February 25th. And just so you know, Old Doctors Hospital, the southeast corner is where we have 233 units being built, and now they want to do directly on the other side where the temple is, 200 and almost 80 units. So, and that's where 2 lanes go into 1. It's going to be a very interesting traffic nightmare that we are creating.
Thank you, everybody. If you would like your comments to be a part of the minutes, you need to email them to secretary@sarasotaccna.org, and I'll put it on the agenda for next time so you have that. I'm sorry, Flo distracted me now. I'm distracted. Flo wants to say something.
I just wanted to say welcome to everyone that is new, and I just want everyone to be aware around the table. Your delegate and alternate are more than welcome, but only one person can speak at the table. So if you have questions, make sure you get together and coordinate those. Thank you.
Yeah, what you said. If you want your event to be put in our newsletter or our website, you need to email that, soft copy. You can send it to me, president@sarasotaccna.org, and I'll get it to Jim. If you know Jim's email, you can send it directly to him. I don't know it off the top of my head to tell you, but I will add that information to our agenda in the future. Before we adjourn, 2 commissioners want to say something, as well as Mark Smith, City Commissioner. So we're going to start with Mark, since he's the closest to me.
Thank you. I'm always impressed by the attendance and the polite decor that you all have with each other. A message for Norm. You had made a comment about the fire station in your neighborhood. You thought it was going to be removed. Okay, well, I could have made that up, but anyway. Just odd that would be what I would make up. But anyway, I did check with Rich Collins at the county, and the fire station at Beneva by Circus will not be moving, but there is a chance there will be a new fire station there eventually. Oh. And there we go. That was effective on my part, because that's something I wanted to mention. Under the guise that your children are never too old for us to help. My daughter's a teacher at Sarasota School of Arts and Science, and there's a Toricon event happening. If you have children or grandchildren, she's been putting it on for 14 years. here we go. We did have a January 21st stormwater workshop, and I don't know if you realize this, but you have a stormwater rock star in Steve Swa, who's sitting here quietly. He is the guru of all things stormwater. And he did an excellent report that we're all referring to. March 12th, we are going to have the next stormwater workshop. I was given some rather more than depressing news that U.S. Recycling is not stopped. They just changed hands. And so, trying to pick words that aren't curse words. Anyway, Pat's going to get more information on it. Again, complaining is the only thing we can do. The health department will look into it. I don't know with a new operator and they have a permit, if we can at least look at the operating hours, because I know they were working all kinds of crazy hours early in the morning and on the weekends and at night. So we'll do whatever we can to try to close this next operation down. And that's pretty much about it. Other than, I think it'd be wonderful, and I'm going to leave this with Pat, because we all do, is that the school cameras, which are a wonderful idea, after it's up and running and such, I think it'd be wonderful if it was open to the neighborhoods.
At least on parks.
Well, you know, it just, I'm just throwing that out there. And last but not least, we have plenty of coyotes on Siesta Key that eat rats. And so if you'd like to bring them into the city, we would be more than happy.
I think I can speak on behalf of the mayor and the commissioner. We will gracefully decline the invitation.
I think they eat iguanas too.
Oh,
They eat anything.
You know what? Let's talk then.
All right, there we go. Anyway, thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mark. Next up, Kathy Kelley Ohlrich, you had something you wanted to add?
I do. Yesterday, the Sarasota Police Department unveiled its new mobile command unit. It is an awesome structure. If it didn't have Sarasota Police and mobile command unit printed all over its vibrant blue exterior, you'd swear it was a mobile home. And it's much better than the former command unit that was a landscape trailer.
It was a yard trailer.
Yeah. So this is an awesome unit that will greatly enhance the police department's ability to provide services, safety, protection to our residents during emergencies, during parades and events, and they can use it for community policing too. Check it out if you ever have the chance. It's just amazing. I just wanted you to know about it.
Thank you.
That'll, Commissioner, that'll be back out on display during National Night Out in a couple months. So it greatly enhances our ability to address some of those long-term issues like parades where we have to have personnel in a command position out in the field for an extended period of time, storms, any type of civil emergency. It is really, and we've been waiting for that. The funds for that were spent over 2.5 years ago. I think it was $1.2 million to get it up and running. That was spent. When you talk about supply chain issues, they couldn't get the frame for that bus for that long. I mean, we have waited a long time for it. So I appreciate your support and going out and taking a look at the new toy. Very nice.
Thank you, Kathy. Jen?
Thank you. I'm so glad to see you all here. Sorry I wasn't here last week. As some of you may or may not know, last month, sorry. Our house flooded, and so we are putting it back together, and we were getting toilets delivered, which is very exciting. Haven't had them for a while, so I don't have to go to Publix anymore. It's true. I also received the news about U.S. Recycling and can't find any words that aren't curse words either, so I'm going to think about something else to say, and we'll figure out what we're going to do about this situation. But I agree with Commissioner Smith that continue advocacy, reach out to us, write to us, complaining, and we're all going to try to work together to figure out what we can do next. A reminder to please send me invitations. You all talked about all your events and stuff like that. If you can send those to me and copy Alexia and Christina, then I can respond and get that on my calendar. So I would really appreciate it if you could do that. And that leads me into my last item, which is I'm starting a new thing. It's called, so the city is doing a whole bunch of initiatives. And we do our budget every year. We're doing a new downtown master plan. We're redoing our strategic plan. And so I would like to know what's on your mind. Not just you all in this room, but those in your neighborhood, and especially those folks who may or may not be able to come out to your neighborhood meetings very often or regularly. And so I'm hoping it's a two-step process. The first step being me having coffee with each representative of the neighborhood, and then you all inviting your neighbors and saying, there's a 2-hour period of time when Commissioner Jen's going to be here at this local coffee shop, which we will work on and arrange, and invite your neighbors to come. They can come for a minute, they can come for an hour, just to tell me what's on your mind. I want to know down to the granular level what's on your mind. So that would be the first step, and the second step I hope will lead to us organizing a walkthrough of your neighborhood. People can point out things to me and issues. So it's just something that, when you're campaigning, you go door to door and you really get a good flavor and feel and understanding of what's going on in everybody's neighborhood that you can't get unless it's like boots on the ground kind of a thing. And no elections, yay, nothing going on like that. So now I can calmly go to each of your neighborhoods and hopefully understand what's on your mind and what's going on. So it's going to take a while for me to get to everybody, but I've called Flo, I've called Mary Butler, I've called Larry Silvermans from Alta Vista, and I've called one other neighborhood. And instead of me calling you all now and telling you each individually what it's about, I'm telling you right now. So if you want to arrange this, please email me or text me. No, I take that back, don't text me. I'm having problems with texting on my phone. Email me. My city email address, if you don't have it, ask me for it and I'll give it to you. And that way I can forward that to Alexia and Christina, and they will set up the coffee, the initial coffee. So if you're interested, please let me know, and have a great rest of your weekend. And what did you say here? Oh, the U.S. recycling perhaps should be something we should talk about here at CCNA and how we can figure that out. Again.
So Commissioner, just to give you an update, and since Mark ripped the Band-Aid off, now I've got to follow up. So thank you, Commissioner, for that. I've already spoken with our zoning staff. They're going to review the usage to ensure that their zoning is appropriately used. I can tell you that preliminarily, it appears that they are still in compliance with the zoning regulations of that area because it is heavy industrial. I've also already gotten communication back from Commissioner Smith's staff, the assistant county administrator. They're going to start looking into it from the air permitting side of it, and I also forward the information over to the health department, Chuck Henry, and they're going to be looking at into it from that angle as well. So, and I've already gotten responses back from the county staff, so everyone's aware of it, and we'll start working on it this week. So appreciate that as always, and we will continue to push forward on it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thanks, Commissioner Jen. A couple things. One, just a gentle reminder in case you're not going to go to coffee with Commissioner Jen. Do the survey. Tell your neighborhood to do the survey. Let your voice be heard. Our March meeting will be March 1st, right here. Thank you all for giving up your time every one Saturday of every month. Our guest speakers next month will be two-part, the SPAC, as well as the Sarasota Historical Alliance will present on Van Wezel, and we're going to talk about arts and culture. So Today we talked about traffic calming because we know people are going to be, speeding to get down to the Van Wezel and a potential SPAC. We're going to talk about that next. So think about that. Be prepared to have good questions.
This SPAC is the Sarasota Performing Arts Center.
The proposed new Performing Arts Center that would be here on the Bay will be our guest speakers, as well as Sarasota Historic Alliance will be our guest speakers. So we are going to forego some of the other things on our agenda to give that plenty of time, because I know there will be a lot of questions and comments from the group. Thank you everyone for your time. Appreciate everything you do. Meeting adjourned. Have a great weekend.